Uh, okay,
Alright, so
I'm gonna
how
talk though.
are
Yes.
game sounds for volume right now? If you guys want to give me a feel for the game sounds are sitting as I'm talking, is that about right? Is it too quiet? Is it inaudible? Where are we at with those? The only annoying thing is there's always that little bit of stream delay, so we don't get
True.
immediate responses.
True.
Alright,
So
people are saying it's good, so I guess we can move into the cast. So in the bottom right-hand corner, as the orange Protoss, we have DNH, Darknet Hunter, and in the top left-hand corner, as our brown Protoss, we have Broodwar Fun, also known as the Terran, I believe.
we have a SCV already making its way to the middle of the map from Brown.
Before Depot, so either some shenanigans or a very early scout, but clearly shenanigans.
The ruling is in, it's shenanigans, and we see a second SCV is going to be BBS. I'm wagering everything that it's going to be BBS.
I actually can't remember, is 8 racks a thing in TVT?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think BBS is a thing in all matchups. I mean, in theory, the other Terran has only 1 racks, and they're likely to cut Marines. They're also more likely to go for 14 CC. I feel like in TVT. So there is some credit to this, I think, but I'm not sure how it's going to play out. Because this is like the definition of an all-in rush build.
Oh yeah, or just what we often call a cheese. I guess cheese tends to refer. I'm trying to think what would even distinguish cheese from all in. I guess all in is more just like aggressive, and if it fails, you die. Cheese is like kind of if it's scouted. Like all ins, even if you scout them, you can still die to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like builds, it's kind of like if you don't scout cheese, you're like almost guaranteed to die.
Yeah, the great boxer. His definition of cheese is a strategy that you can't scout until it hits you. So
you can't scout. Okay,
yes.
Interesting.
So basically it means like, you know, if you wall off on your ramp and hide the amount of Marines you have or something like that, or you wall off with you wall your ramp with Zerglings and you're massing Zerglings behind it, stuff like that, or a timing that hits before Corsair gets into the Zerg base, that would be a cheese.
And Barracks isn't making Marines.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Everything's turning out pretty decent for the brown Terran right now, but this factory is, I mean, the factory time is good.
He had 1 Barracks not making Marine. Oh,
Yeah.
When you say brown, you mean orange? So Brown's had a couple build order mistakes, like he wasn't making Marine in one of his barracks.
I think you're colorblind, dude. You're talking about in the center. He wasn't making Marines.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad. That's terrible. I was looking at.
We've got the battle of the ramp. One Marine goes up all by itself. The other 2 are just hanging out.
Oh my god! And we have the.
Oh man, I'm feeling pretty good about DNH's chances of defending this right now. Oh, there are 4 Marines here. He's pulling a lot of SCVs off the line. However, SCVs are quite beefy, unlike probes and wings. But this is looking pretty good. He's just running around taking a lot of damage. And I think DNH is going to stabilize really easily at this point.
Oh my god. This went just absolutely terribly for Brown. I mean, Orange lost a lot of mining time, but this one Vulture that's coming out right now is going to be so deadly. And he only stopped making Marines now. There's no possible way he's going to be able to block his ramp in time against these Vultures that are coming out.
He's half supply, 10 SCVs versus 20 SCVs. Tech is behind. I mean, that did not happen for him. He was not able to coordinate the attack, and a few build order mistakes, and that was just unfortunately not well executed is really all you can say about that one.
Yeah, DNH shows himself as a player that is not to be trifled with. He will not fall for your shitty cheeses. So let's see how this plays out on the ramp here. We do have Marines trying to get their way back up there. The Vulture is going to be attack moving.
And he's going to try to do a little bit of micro. Vulture with slightly more range than the Marines. I think it kills Marines in 2 shots, right? Yeah, yep. 2 shots.
Making this a really dicey situation.
And now there's 2 Vultures, so obviously these are far superior to Marines in this particular situation. And now there is no defense in the base, and SCVs are just going to begin dying in mass. He is pulling them off the line. He's going to try to trap the Vultures, but with good micro, he will probably just kill all these SCVs. And of course, we have more Vultures being rallied in as we speak.
And the barracks finally comes to the ramp, like the barracks that could have saved him, you know, by walling off. Because he did start his factory, so he would have been in a bad spot, but not necessarily this bad. And now it's just a wrap. Like, this is GG. This is fantasy GG time. And there's the GG.
Oh, DNH with a quick, easy game 1.
A free one.
Oh yeah, I guess the lesson from that one is if you're going to BBS, make sure the build is right. Make sure you make the Marines right on time. And you got to get your shit more organized. Like, he had one Marine go up the ramp, and it was basically taking damage by itself. 2 were staying at the bottom. He kind of waited at the bottom of the ramp for a while. There was just like a lot of lost time, and the Marines just weren't working as a unit.
Oh, I think one thing that we forgot to do, we forgot to mention that this is Group G. And who is in the Group G? In Group G, we have BW Fun, DNH, and I guess we'll introduce the next 2 players now. Did you mention that on your stream? I don't know, because I called you late.
I think at the start, I think I mentioned it was Group G. But if you guys didn't know, this is Group G.
Okay,
we're doing Group B, H, I, and K, I think.
We're also doing Group C.
Group C, I already casted.
Okay, then we're doing D.
I did C, E, and F.
Okay.
D doesn't exist.
D does exist because I promised my boy Faust that we're going to cast it.
That's nothingness? All right.
Yes, we will.
All right. I'll be curious to see what you have in mind for that one.
Okay.
And we will go into our second game of the group stage, which is between Click Decision and Mongu.
Now, both of these players, they're NH. Okay, let's introduce the players first, though. On the bottom right, we have Click Decision, the yellow Protoss.
In the top left-hand corner, as our purple Protoss, we have Mongu. And both of these guys are part of the NHFFA Discord, which is basically a Discord started by another guy that does like casts of newer players playing FFAs and some other silly stuff, but some of them have started to develop into players that have either gained curiosity or are developing into more serious 1v1 players as well, and these are 2 of those guys. Mongu, I think, is a little bit earlier. I think he's a D- player, and Click Decision is a little more experienced, but I think he's also around D rank. I don't know if he's quite D+ yet, but they're both learning. But I would say Click Decision should be pretty favored in this match.
I definitely agree with you. Click Decision seems to have a decent level of mechanics for his level. The major problems I've seen from him so far are decision making. Whereas Mongu, he doesn't really, I hate to say this, but he doesn't have much of anything going for him in competitive 1v1 because he started so recently. You will note, for example, that he doesn't rally his probes from his Nexus in order to get good mining efficiency. He placed his first pylon all the way in the back by the gas, so pretty much extremely far away from his ramp. So it's minor mistakes like this that are so revealing even in the early game about your general game sense.
If you guys are wondering, pylon position back there, that far back is almost never a good thing because it's just putting your gates needlessly far away from your ramp. And it also means that later, if you start getting a lot of gateways, and especially tech, you're sort of going to add tech in a place that's just going to make it harder for units to get out into the natural, and it's just generally going to be an inefficient base layout.
Yep, and what's dangerous about that is, let's say that there's a major battle and both players traded armies. The person with the gateways closer to the ramp and in a more streamlined fashion is going to resupply quicker and gain better map position for the next engagement.
We're going to have 2 gateway here from Click Decision, so a little bit of old school / non-standard PvP. And so far, it looks like he's executing the build right. Should get a Zealot, and we'll see if he slaps down that next pylon immediately.
Yep, should be 15 pylon, I believe.
It looks like Click, or Mongu is going to go... is he going to take... No, he doesn't have gas, so he's doing an incorrect build. So this is just, I think, D- stuff.
Yeah. For all you players out there, if you are going gas after gateway, you want to make your gas while the gateway is being made. So it's 10 gate, 12 gas, and then Zealot, and then another pylon if you want to be safe and make another Zealot. And from Click Decision, we do see the second pylon being placed on time. And I do want to just compare and contrast the gate positioning from the 2 players. The gates from Click Decision are pretty much optimally placed here, I think, compared to the position of Mongu. This is especially important in the early game for PvP because if it takes your Zealot too long to walk from the gate to the ramp, the person scouting you has a better chance of getting in, whereas now Mongu is going to get to yellow's base, and he is not going to be able to get in if Click Decision plays this Zealot correctly. Okay, and we do see gas coming up. We see a cybernetics core, and this is I feel like Mongu is scouting really late as well. If he saw that there was 2 gateways, the normal response would be to add a gateway, I think, or maybe a shield battery at the ramp. And the scouting probe dies, but sees the 3 zealots. I wonder if Mangu is going to react to that.
Sorry, I was trying to check on my stream. I don't know. It shouldn't really be, but apparently I was dropping a few frames and there was a little bit of lag, so I was disclosing some stuff. But I don't know why. It shouldn't really be doing that.
I do see a little bit of lag right now, actually. But since this is a replay, we can do this. It should make it better.
Yeah, let me pause for 1 second, check, and see if I can figure out why it's behaving this way. This is usually not an issue.
Okay.
In fact, I can't any reason why it should be an issue. Nothing is like taxed or anything like that.
Okay. Yesterday I had no problem streaming and torrenting because I guess I wasn't torrenting that heavily. It's not like I'm downloading anything. It's just a little bit of upload, but I'll close that down, see if that helps a little bit.
See. Well, it can't be from you because it's my stream. It's actually like dropping a few frames.
Oh.
All right. So I'm gonna do a test, and I'm gonna do with the call in Discord. I'll call you back after that.
Okay. In the meantime, people who are tuned into my stream and listening to me, let's talk about a few things. First of all, this ramp positioning is not good. You want to have your zealots up here in hold position so that even if a superior number of zealots comes at you, you'll have a greater surface area of attack. You're more likely to have a greater surface area of attack. Also, here, when yellow was blocking the ramp, he had his zealots in the relatively correct place, but they weren't on hold position. So a tricky probe could have come in, seen the zealots, forced them to chase him, and then the probe would have, like, juked around and then gotten up the ramp and seen everything that it needs to see. So in short, if you're playing PvP, trying to hide what you're doing, which you should be doing, because Brood War is a game of information, it's a game of strategy, you might want to place your zealots here and hold position. Let me see if actually, I should just wait until Elmaster calls me because I missed the call last time. So, oops. I'm gonna leave this call. Okay. Oops. Who calling me? Someone calling me? Apocalypse. Papa Tupac. Yeah, I don't want to miss Elmaster's call. So I don't know. We haven't seen enough to really talk much about things, I think. Besides everything that we already said, I guess we covered pretty much everything so far. But let's just do a quick recap. Step number 1: rally your nexus in the direction of the next available mineral. That doesn't mean set your rally onto the mineral, because your probe will go there. It will stop at the mineral and not mine, which is not good. And you'll mix in with the ones that are mining. It can be kind of hard to catch in the middle of the game. So rally it somewhere halfway between your nexus and the mineral you want to mine. And you can do this with all 3 races, all 3 town halls. That way you increase your mining efficiency. You kind of just catch the probe as it's coming out, and the probe will already be moving in the direction of the mineral patch that you're trying to mine. Number 2, place your gateways closer to the ramp, again in all 3 matchups, because it helps streamline your resupply route. It helps you block the ramp on time so that you can prevent scouting. And 3, you have to hold position on the ramp in order to prevent the probe from tricking your zealots and possibly sneaking its way up in the base and achieving the scouting mission that it is set out to do. Now, from what I've seen so far, we will see why it is important to prevent scouting. The reason is, Mangu has no idea that he should have a slight inclination of an idea that he's going against 2 gate, but by now it's already a little bit too little too late. If he plays his second gateway, he might be able to hold, but he should suffer some losses, and At the same time, this creates a little bit of a window for Click Decision, who can do a 2-gate Nexus build, which is a kind of a greedy, fast expansion build. You open up with a little bit of Zealot aggression, and then take a Nexus real quick before the other player can react to it. And then you defend the inevitable Dragoon counter push with cannons, your own Dragoons, maybe DT, maybe Storm if you're playing the relatively old style of 2-gate expand. What else? Yeah, so scouting is important, mining efficiency is important, building efficiency is important. El Masterino. I wonder what he is doing. I'm ruining my upload download ratio for this. This is important. I guess in the meantime, if anyone has any questions for me, or about this league, I guess, or about, I don't know. I'll try going to a different Twitch server. Okay. Yep, just waiting. It looks like he's having some trouble on his stream. Yeah, so I just shared the multi-Twitch between the two of us. You can just mute one of us. I'll share it in my stream too, I forgot. Okay. This way you can see both of our first-person views, and you can mute one of us. We should share audio. That means like you won't miss anything audibly. Like we're not saying different things. We're going to be making the same sounds on both streams. So muting one of us is fine. But you will get to see two perspectives on the game. More information. This is getting a little loud. Okay, good. Elmaster. Waiting for Elmaster. I'm not good at generating conversation on my own, I think. Elmaster. I wonder what he's doing. I'm gonna start spamming him just to annoy him. Tiny River telling us about the struggles of playing ladder. Join game, pick race. You have been banned. Okay, sir. Then I am Blix responds. You picked the wrong race. Alright. What could Elmaster be doing? The pause indicator is flashing and not lagging. I don't know if this is much of a... I don't know if that's a good sign. I don't know if that's indicative of anything on Elmaster's side. Oh shit. It's good now. Okay, good. So that means that Elmaster should call me soon, I think. Or unless I'm missing something. We thought you went for a bike ride and left us. Hi.
Waiting for confirmation the stream's back. It appears to be back on my end. I don't know what the issue was, but... probably some...
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready whenever you are.
I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me my stream is...
I saw it in your chat. They said that it was good. That it's back.
Oh, what? I'm not getting any chat messages then. What?
Well, I was reading directly from your channel in alt tab, so maybe there's a delay. Or did you not connect to your stream? Did you not connect chat?
As far as I know. Let me send out one more message. Let's see. Tell me if anybody's like typing anything in the last 10 seconds.
All right, I'm gonna go check your stream manually.
Oh, okay. Now I see a Brew Revival. Say need that Google Fiber. No, the internet here is super good. I don't know what the problem is.
Oh. My
like,
internet's
I don't know.
good too.
60, I've got like 60 down and like 30 up. It's, you know, I don't know what the problem was, unless just I'm having issue with the ISP or something like that. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I think I'm ready to go on. I missed you.
We're back for right now. So yeah. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
So we see 4 Zealots moving out from Click Decision's base, heading across the map over to Mongu, who has 3 at the ramp. So I think with the second gateway coming online and a 4th Zealot out, I think Mongu will be just fine to hold this.
Depends on positioning.
They're actually surprisingly well. As long as he's smart at his ramp.
And Click Decision is kind of helping him. He's waiting to gather up all 5 Zealots in the center before moving out. I don't like this decision. He didn't need to do that. This 5th Zealot is still not going to be able to help him at the ramp until it gets there.
I actually think Mongo's in a better position now in a lot of ways, especially depending on what Click does, because Click is just going for slower tech, and they have pretty similar economies. Now, if Mongo just moves out like this, Click can win the game if he doesn't get back there.
Exactly, that was the critical mistake here. I guess it's because he didn't scout, but when his probe died, he could have noticed that there were 3 Zealots at the ramp, which kind of indicates a 2-gate. But he got a good position really quickly, actually.
If he isn't wasteful here, though, and just waits for his goons, he'll hold his ramp pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I like how he shuffled the injured Zealot to the back. He's still not holding the ramp in a line that makes sense, though. You want to hold the ramp in a line that increases your surface area of attack. But Click Decision decided to bail on the whole entire project anyway, and has been catching up on tech in the meantime instead of expanding.
And he's also getting a small lead on probes, and it looks like Mongo is maybe intending to go for Templar tech, and he's getting 3 gateways. Oh, 3 gateways. So, you know, I gotta remember we're watching D- here, so you never know. 4 gateways. Okay, that I doubt he's gonna go 4 gateway DT. He might go 4 gateway speed lot though, which is a pretty scary little all in.
Yeah, I've done it before and I've lost to it before, and it's so unexpected and it's so hard to scout, especially when if you're a player who went 2 gate in the first place. You kind of you're lulled into a false sense of army superiority, and then all of a sudden speed loss and you lose, especially if you're going Nexus like Click Decision is here. So it will be interesting.
If you are going Nexus and you scout this, now it's a little different since he's going Zealots, but let's say you've gone Dragoons and all of a sudden, like, you at least get some sort of prior warning, like you have a probe at the bridge and you see the speed lots coming. The best thing to do in that situation to try to hold is to immediately kind of spam up a wall at your natural. If you already have a pylon, get a gateway, get some other stuff up there and get some pylons, and then get the goons up against that and even pull the probe. So almost like you'd treat it like someone's trying to ling all you in, to ling all you, and then let them hold. And then if they start to flood around, then you just have to micro your heart out and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But that is usually your best chance of holding, is to wall stuff off and try to make it so that as few of those Zealots can attack as possible.
Exactly. Whenever you're in a defender's position against superior armory, you want to minimize their surface area of attack. And we see the Zealots come in way before speed against a very superior Zealot count, and the whole army is coming in kind of piecemeal. He's going to lose that Zealot. And
he's going to have to back up here. Like, this attack is not going to work. I think Click has just macroed better.
Yeah.
And, actually, he's trying to go 4 gate. Okay, so now you can see some more D- stuff, because he macroed a bunch more Dragoons while getting speed for his Zealots, and now he just has 2 Zealots, and leg speed is going to kick in like a quarter second, but he didn't spam Zealots out of those gateways. Yeah,
the problem here is the lack of build cohesion. Like, the things that he's doing do not agree with each other in a streamlined fashion at all. If you're going speed lots, you make Zealots instead of Dragoons. If you're going speed lots, you don't make a Templar Archives. If you're going 4 gate, you don't make Templar Archives either. And now he's getting a Forge on top of everything, and somehow he's still very rich. I think it's due to a poor macro. He's not producing units at all.
He hasn't made a unit in like 30 seconds, and he's going to spam 2 DTs. He's going to spam 4 DTs. But if we look at the bottom right-hand corner of Click's base, we can see that he is making an observer. So as long as he doesn't fly that observer across the map, make only 1, and completely miss the DTs, he is going to be just fine because he's not in danger of a drop. If Mongu had a robotics facility, then there's always a danger that 4 DTs dropped in your base can snipe a Nexus incredibly fast. Like if your obs is in the natural and 4 DTs are dropped and you don't react, you can literally lose the Nexus before you can scramble back from the natural with the Dragoons and the obs. But there's no robo, so that's not a danger in this particular case.
Especially with slow obs. And one thing that even good players do, because it does make sense, is you use the obs, you send it on in the path that DTs would take from the enemy base to your base. So if Click Decision made that choice, which is relatively safe choice, the obs would be even further away from the Nexus than it should be. But we do see the 2 DTs moving out. We see the army moving out without the obs. But the DTs just decide to attack the army instead of following through.
Yeah, he should send at least 1 over to the natural and cause problems. But of course, Click doesn't have an obs, so once he gets up here to actually start fighting this, he's going to have to pull back, because 4 DTs will massacre his army.
Yeah,
so he's going to retreat here pretty soon, I think.
If
he forces his attack, it's going to get nowhere.
Mongo had a very short window where he could have done a lot of damage by splitting his DT force. He had 2 back with his main army anyway. He could have sent 1 of his DTs to the main of Click Decision, 1 DT to the natural of Click Decision. But instead
it's worth noting that not only would that would have been doubly effective in this case, because not only is there the issue of, especially at lower ranks, but there's a tendency at any rank when you're getting ready to fight a battle to miss things like that. But on top of that, he had sent all his units out from the natural. He had only 1 Dragoon, so even with the obs, 2 DTs running in, he would have had no way to cover all those spots. So the DTs absolutely could have done a lot of damage.
But even without having done that, he kind of evened out the army count a little bit in that engagement, because
he did, yeah.
Click Decision
did too much.
Yeah, Click Decision didn't send all of his army back. I think it might have been a hotkey issue. But Click Decision is now at 42 probes, whereas Mangu is stuck at 17. So I'm like,
Mangu hasn't made a probe since the start of that 2 gate.
Yeah.
Whereas Click has continued probing at both bases and actually has a pretty healthy probe count.
And he has decent tech also. He's getting his Citadel of Dune up. He has a robotic support bait. He's making a Reaver. So I'm definitely liking Click Decision's position here.
More stuff to notice just about Mongu, in case Mongu watches or you're new, and just knowing Mongu built 5 gateways on 1 base, which I'll say 2 things for it. Number 1, he may have done that just because he had a lot of money and was like, oh, I need to get it down. And there's something to be said for that. But at the same time, I would say for 1 base, if you're needing 5 gateways, it's more important to just fix your macro, because 5 gates, I don't care if you have 100 probes in your main, you can't support 5 gateways.
Yeah.
You could maybe support 4 doing nothing with just speed lots, but even then that's pretty ridiculous. So, 5 gateways is overkill, and that obviously just delays your Nat Nexus and is not particularly useful or helpful.
I actually think that 1 base can support 4 gateway goon. If we're going to be really technical about it.
For a little bit, yeah, you're right, you're right.
But we also see that he made a new Nexus, which first of all isn't really effective considering the fact that he doesn't have enough probes to saturate it, but he also didn't transfer probes. Whenever you make a new Nexus, you want to transfer probes to it right away.
He's only got 17. I guess he could transfer 8 or something, which I guess would give you 1 at each patch. But
yeah.
Or 7, I guess.
And again, Click Decision kind of having a micro flub here, sending half of his army ahead to die without obs.
And the DTs are actually doing pretty good damage because Click wasn't microing that much, but he just has a much larger army at this point, and I think he's just going to walk on top of Mongo's goons and force this down.
And we do see the army is rallied.
5 gateways. Oh, he's not macroing, so Mongo's just going to die here.
Yep, Mongo.
Right Click is sending his units across the map, so... Oh, actually, let's see. What does he have energy on this Templar? He has enough for a storm. So if he hits good storms, he might actually hold for a little bit. If he storms. Oh, and the obs are not in position, or that DT is not being targeted or something.
Yeah, he's not being targeted. And now the obs are definitely out of position. Let's see how these storms go. Storms? Maybe? No. Does he not have storm? I have a suspicion he doesn't have storm.
He must not have storm. We can go check the archives, but yeah, he must not have storm. It's the only reason I can think he wouldn't have stormed with 130 energy when a battle's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, usually you want to start storm at the same time that you start your Templar. Because Templar without storm out is... he says fuck.
Mongo just now noticing he hasn't been macroing, he's like, shit. So he's obviously pretty dead. It's going to be like 15 seconds before he gets his next round of goons, and by then Click already has another wave of reinforcements coming in.
And a third base.
He's macroing, to be honest. He's got high money, but it's because he's only got 5 gateways and pretty good economy. but he's been macroing reasonably well.
And keeping up the pro production, it should be noted. It's a good that he's been doing that, and he should keep on doing that.
And we are watching the last dying moments of PvP. And here's a shuttle with 2 Reavers. I guess you can go ahead and bring Reavers too, so if the game wasn't enough already, give 2 extra Reavers.
This is kind of just like a slap in the face at this point. Like, I'm going to kill your buildings quicker now, and you should press GG.
The other thing I wanted to address is, you see where that rubble is? Mongo had built a cannon right there, and a cannon in that position is not useful. Pretty much there are 2 places you want to build cannons most of the time when you play. Either in/near your mineral lines to protect your workers from harass, or at the front of your natural base as a defense against army if you're worried about being busted at a particular timing. But other than that, cannons elsewhere are usually not that good.
Also, if you're going
for Protoss.
If you're going DTs off of one base, you sometimes put them at your ramp as well, in case the enemy is going DT also. If you want detection on your ramp. Okay, so that was game 1.
Go into the winner match. Yes. So now we will be seeing Click Decision against DNH. Is cool. All right. So we're going to go into the winner's match. Click Decision versus DNH on Fighting Spirit, as everything is. So in the top right-hand corner, as our white Protoss, we have none other than Click Decision. And on the left side, as our purple Terran, we have DNH. And in this case, I think this should be more or less a clinic from DNH, because DNH is a long-time established player. I think he is around C-, so of solid skill and definitely a lot more experience than Click.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Click Decision showed that he has definitely some grasp of competitive play. He was good at making probes. His build made sense, but I don't know if he'll be able to compete with DNH, who's been a member of these leagues for quite a few years now, and as a result has gained a lot of practice with players who helped him refine his mechanics and his decision making and build timing. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Click Decision, but it's still within the realm of possibility.
Of course, also it's PvT or TVP in the case for DNH, and TVP is known for being a matchup where it is a little bit difficult for Terrans, especially when you're new, and it's also a very easy matchup where if you do have that moment of inattention or read Protoss wrong, it is pretty easy to lose.
And I would say that TVP is also hard to win in a sense, because I feel like the push timings are reactionary to what the Protoss is doing. So if you don't have the right information, or if your one timing push fails, then you're suddenly way behind in the game. And I do like this this positioning from DNH is really, really good, and I'll explain to you why. It's because Marines can shuffle between this depot and this barracks, which means that when a Zealot comes here, the Marines just go through the gap, shoot at it, and then the Zealot goes around, and then the Marines go to the other side and shoot at it. So the Zealot never actually manages to get much damage done, and he's put it in a position where he can defend his mineral line at the same time from any potential Zealot harass. So good looks on DNH for that.
Showing us a clinic for how to position buildings in TVP, and I guess we'd expect that from a player that's been around for a while to have some idea of smart building placement.
Click Decision went for a 13 cybernetics core, which isn't optimal, but it's not terrible. He started mining gas a little bit late. His 15 pylon is a little bit late, so we're seeing slight delays in what could have been a potentially crisp build order. He is making probes now, and I do want to note that his probe is rallied to the pylon under his nexus, kind of the opposite of efficient mining path. So you want your probes when they come out to be going towards the mineral line, so you can grab them and tell them to mine.
And we can see that DNH obviously feeling fairly confident, as he did opt to go ahead and make the factory before making a Marine. That's pretty typical, but I think in some situations, if you're particularly worried, you can make the Marine first.
And I noticed that I think this factory is actually a little bit far from where the Marines would have had coverage. I would have liked to see the factory maybe to the right of the depot or a little bit under the depot so that the Marines could cover the SCV that's building it. But I guess he knows that there's no Zealot coming out, so he's not too worried about it. And
Like saying better to block the ramp, safer versus fast DT. I would like to ask if you're talking about PvP or PvT, but then I will comment on that.
The scouting probe was chilling on the ramp of DNH, but now it got pushed away. We do see Quick Decision going for, it looks like the L-Master build. This is 21 Nexus.
That's because I talked about it to him, so I know why he's doing it. So I do this a lot. This was my favorite build when I played PvT because it was really comfortable against FD. And basically what you do is normal opening, you know, pylon, cybernetics core, set your goon, get your goon range. As soon as you get goon range, you pull 2 probes off gas and go ahead and put a Nexus down at 21. And then you immediately build a gateway, start your second goon. And then when that second goon finishes, your 2 gateways finish in tandem and you make goons 3 and 4. And so it gives you a little bit faster Nexus, although with a subtle probe cut, but it gives you 4 goons at FD timing instead of 3, which is quite nice. It's just an alternative way to play. It's not like insanely better either way, but it's just a different style.
Yeah, it's in every build choice that you make, you know, like going 21 Nexus versus 3 goon Nexus, like you have to look at the pluses and minuses. You get an advantage in Nexus timing, and you get an advantage in goon, but you get a disadvantage in robotics timing. So, you know, it's just based, I think it's a stylistic choice, you know, like what are you comfortable with? Personally, I'm not comfortable with playing without obs because I get wrecked by mines all the time and I like to be a little bit more aggressive. But now we do see the FD coming out from DNH. Okay.
So now I want to take a quick moment to respond to what Blix said, which he said better to block the ramp, safer versus fast DT. And I'm going to basically go ahead and say no, that's not right. The gist of that being is that pretty much in PvT, you're looking to expand reasonably quick. Well, first we'll watch the FD and then I'll continue to talk. Mm-hmm. He is going to come in here and try to do some damage with the FD. We'll see how Click's micro is. You do still have to micro a little bit, even with 4 goons. There we go. That's a little bit better. Just need to step away from the Marines. And the idea for Terran here is they want to keep all their stuff close to the tanks. Oh no, he needs to back up now, and he got his mine shot down. So
no.
This is overextending. This is one of the things that some people don't like about 21 Nexus. He really wants to get that tank, but it's got too much health at the tank. Tank can just win the goon. Yeah, DNH notices that.
Oh my god.
It's 21 Nex does not give you quite as quick of obs, so you do sit in your natural a little bit longer. And now with the goons pushed back, DNH is going to be able to come in here and lay some really annoying mines and just kind of delay mining his natural for a little while. And he actually also has a vulture in the main that is killing some of the low probes, and the goon is forced because Click let those in. And that's all because he overextended against those mines.
Yeah.
He's gonna eat one more. He's okay.
Yeah, FD usually is not a winning move in the game. Like, it can be, it has the potential to be, and that's why Protoss has to respect it. But if you micro poorly, you can definitely lose to it. And I feel like Quick Decision microed really well against it at the start of the engagement, and then he just, as you said, overextended. He tried to push his advantage when there was really no need for him to do so.
That was a good mindset.
Yeah, that was...
Be careful though. There's 2 here. If he walks forward here with both of these Dragoons, he'll trigger both at once, and you obviously can't shoot down 2.
Yeah, and I do want to know for our Terran players that you don't want to try to force the issue with.
Oh, that's smart. He didn't quite execute it right, but that works.
Yeah.
Risky, but it works.
Yeah, so I want to know for our Terran players that you shouldn't try to force the issue with your FD either. Your FD is mostly to establish position and secure a safe expansion. I feel like DNH actually went a little bit too far in. He lost all of his Marines. He only laid down, I think, 2 mines before the Vulture died, and his tank was getting shot at. He didn't need to lose all of that. He just needed to force the Protoss back, especially when he saw that Quick Decision was microing appropriately.
Although he did force it, because Click overextended, it actually turned out to be wonderful for DNH. Like, that was an incredibly favorable exchange that happened for DNH, because not only did he get a few probe kills, he also basically ended up trading 6 Marines and 3 or 4 Vultures for like 6 Dragoons, which is fantastic as Terran.
Oh no, I agree with you. I think it's mostly because of the fact that Quick Decision overextended, though. I would say that you shouldn't bank on the fact that Protoss is going to make mistakes like walking into mines like that.
I'm noting just that it did turn out favorable in the end for DNH, though, and he's in a great position right now.
Absolute facts. And, oh my god, he's still being so risky with his movements here. Before you have speed for your Observer, you don't want to move with your Dragoons and your Observer at the same time, because the Observer is always going to lag behind the Dragoons. What you want to do is send your Observer ahead of you and then have the Dragoons follow it. And you can actually use the minimap for that, which is something I do. And now we see a lot of speed vultures coming out onto the map.
Also, I'm not going to lie, I do not like where Click is sitting his Dragoons right now. They aren't blocking the bridge, and they are actually outside of the bridge, so 6 or 7 speed volts, like what DNH has in the center here, could just slip by those goons so easily and just start destroying probes in the natural and main.
And now it just got even worse, because he sent, instead of sending 2 Dragoons to clear mines that might be at the third, he sent 4 and left 2 at his natural. And DNH wouldn't even have to slip around the goons on the bridge. He could have gone through the third base and slipped behind.
Horribly out of position with not enough Dragoons.
Yeah.
So that's a thing to be aware of in PvT. Like, unless you have an OBS and you know that Terran is like only made tanks, if you move out with this number of Dragoons and don't leave just like a mostly pylon wall with a Dragoon blocking the gap or something, you are just leaving yourself wide open to vultures. And we still might see that. DNH hasn't moved his vultures for a while, but it looks like he's about to run by here, and if he doesn't get scared of these 3 Dragoons, he can do a lot of damage. Well, it looks like they're going to.
He got scared, yeah. But I do want to note one thing that Click Decision is doing really well. His Arbiter timing should be really good, actually. Well, not really good, but definitely decent. The Stargate's almost done, but now the Vulture run by is coming.
But he's not actually running by. He's just killing 3 Vultures. He's actually killed like 3 Dragoons, though, which is pretty nice. He's going to go block the Nexus before it gets down.
Good play. I do like Click Decision. He reacted pretty quickly. He put a Dragoon up on his ramp as soon as he saw the vultures coming, so he prevented a lot of damage from being done. But the longer that Click Decision stays on 2 base and Arbiter Tech isn't started, the more DNH is pulling ahead right now. He has
especially since Click has not been probing nearly enough. DNH is well ahead in worker count.
Yeah. DNH also is starting his 3rd command center. I feel like he might gather up a few more tanks and then secure that soon. Whereas Click Decision, he's just holding his ramp.
Like can do. Oh, he's got the obs lagging behind, but there are no mines out in front, so it's going to be okay. Yeah, again, leaving his natural just wide open to vulture harass. I don't know if he's thinking about attacking or what he's doing, but as a general rule, just walking around the middle of the map early mid-game with Dragoons and Zealots is not that good. Now, maybe he's intending to attack, which is fine.
I wouldn't say it's fine, though. I think that the established position of DNH is too strong here. All he has to do is siege up and prevent any sort of aggression.
Let me rephrase that. The attack itself is probably not a good idea, but moving into the map if you intend to attack makes sense.
Yeah. And he does actually pick off a few vultures here because of the fact that he has a little bit of a forward position. He forces DNH to siege up. Psychologically speaking, I guess that could force you to like have a more defensive mentality. It's like, oh shit, Protoss at my front door. And this kind of forward motion allowed Click Decision to establish his 3rd base relatively safely. We do see Arbiter Tech now. He is getting energy and Arbiter at the same time, which is exactly what you want to do, because when your Arbiter pops out, it's going to get the Arbiter energy right away, and then you start researching a recall or stasis depending on your position.
Really a shame DNH isn't doing more with these vultures. Click is so ridiculously vulnerable to these vultures. I think he could probably kill 2/3 of Click's probes if he just took 12 vultures and just shot around the map.
You know, I would have agreed with you if I hadn't been playing Protoss recently, and I realized that I'm like very vulture harass happy. I'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see how this push goes. I like that. He's sieging up piecemeal, sieging up a few tanks at a time. No reaction from Click Decision. Click Decision makes the right decision and runs away. And this is exactly how you want to push. Look at this leapfrogging. He sieges up, unsieges, sieges, unsieges, and he's moving his way across the map. This is almost perfectly executed.
I also want to note that the main reason this push is possible, as DNH is pushing off significantly less gateways than Click, is that Click basically donated 9 or 10 goons in the early part of this game, and it's allowing DNH to have a much superior tank count relative to the goons than he otherwise would have. Like, if Click wouldn't have done that, this push would not be possible.
Definitely true, and if we look at Click, he's actually macroing decently well, but not all of his gates are pumping. He just hasn't had the probe count to support that many gates for the duration of this game so far. And now he had his army split up, and let's see if this...
Another shuttle here, though.
Yeah, good shuttle, good shuttle. The vultures were not close enough, but... Okay, let's... But there's just not enough units from Protoss.
Is flanking a little bit, but it wasn't 100% coordinated, not enough units, and also he's not getting his Dragoons very spread out. And so in the end, this is just getting shut down.
And he didn't wait for the Arbiter too. I feel like if he had the Arbiter with him during that whole thing, that could have gone so much better for him. But in the end, he does do some decent damage to the push, but not enough to stop it. And now he has no army to stop this Terran ball. Oh my god.
DNH's command center go.
It's flying.
Oh, it's floating.
Yeah.
It's floating out. Okay,
So
yeah, now DNH can also comfortably take this third base for right now because he's got position on the map.
one tank's at 1 health, one tank's at 13 health. So this isn't as firm of a position as you might expect. I always get tricked into this, like thinking that, oh shit, Terran's invincible here. But in reality, if you check the healths, you can sometimes snipe some of these hurt tanks. But he just GG's out, and that's a wrap.
All right, and then I wanted to address what Blix was talking about, saying better to block the ramp saver versus fast DT, and I was going to say, no, it's not really the case. Now, if you were going to siege expand, it's one thing to wall off, but even then, by the time you siege expand, by the time you're floating out your CC, you're going to already be needing to lift your wall to transfer SCVs and do things, so DTs aren't going to arrive at a time where a wall blocks DTs, and panic putting down a wall as a defense for DTs is just all in all a bad option. So pretty much the gist is, for fast DTs, you're just going to have a turret or two up in time. And in the case of most openings, in other words, when Terran doesn't wall, most of the time Terran opts for FD. Because if you don't wall and you just go straight for siege, you're wide open to just about everything. So FD is the standard, which means you're getting vultures with mines. And that allows you plenty of defense against DTs because you can just mine up as you see the DTs. And the first DT is going to die to mines along the way. And of course, if the Protoss is going for shuttle, a wall isn't going to help you anyway. So walls are really not useful at all against defending DTs.
I want to add too that I've seen a lot of Terran players make this mistake, and actually Elmaster made this mistake in a recent game of ours. When you're expanding after an FD, you usually go factory command center, and then after that you want to place your engineering bay just to cover any potential holes, any bullshit that Protoss might want to throw your way. Unless you're 100% positive that there's not going to be any shuttle or DT tech, you want to make your engineering bay after your command center and before your second factory, just to give yourself that added comfort. And I also wanted to respond to what you were saying earlier about the vultures and how they could have been harassing the Protoss mineral line. I did this for my first, I don't know, like 20 ladder TVPs. I would send my vultures out constantly trying to find holes, killing probes. And in the end, I realized that it was just delaying my push because my army was never big enough for me to move out on the map. I was trading vultures for probes, but his army kept growing while my army was staying relatively small. So there is a certain, there's something to say about saving your vultures for a push like DNH did here.
In general, I would agree with you, but in this particular case, Click was so wide open that, he would, if you can send in, 10 vultures, 8 vultures, and kill 30 probes, that's going to be worth it no matter what the situation is. And had he put down a scan and been noticing that, in this particular instance, I think he could have harassed and just done such ridiculous damage that it would have been totally fine. But
Sure.
You're right. If you're constantly trading vultures and just trading, let's say you're trading kind of even, you're trading 2 vultures for 3 or 4 probes every time, then yeah, you can end up in a position where Protoss has a bigger army faster. Although the other thing it does, and sometimes can work out, is I've seen Terrans that harass a bunch with vultures, right? Mm-hmm. And because they're harassing a lot, Protoss tends to respond with making goons. But because the vultures are constantly dying, the tank count is growing, and all of a sudden then Terran comes out with this, 3 control group tank army against a Protoss that's got mostly Dragoons, and that is usually really disastrous as Protoss.
You're completely right, but I think we're about done with this game. I guess the only tips that we should finalize with some tips. I would say that my major tips for quick decision would be to focus on army positioning. Don't overextend yourself against mines in the FD, and keep an eye on your probe count. Otherwise, I liked the timing of his Arbiter tech. His Arbiter Tribunal was a little bit late. He added gateways decently. So yeah, mostly control issues, I would say. Do you have any suggestions for DNH or quick decision?
Not too much. I mean, other than DNH, that I don't know. I didn't pay close attention to where the scans went down, but maybe just recognizing and seeing more on capitalizing on opportunities.
True.
I mean, I like the fact that he did that push. That worked out good, that he was aware that a lot of Dragoons had died early, so he was going to have a timing where he could actually push despite taking a 3rd command center, and that worked out really nice.
True. I agree. All right, so we're going into the losers match. BW Fun against Mangu.
Spawning in the top right-hand corner as our yellow Terran, we have Brood War Fun, and in the bottom left-hand corner as our orange Protoss, we have Mongu. And again, another matchup where our Terran is heavily favored, probably even more so than last matchup, as Brood War Fun is also a C- Terran from what I understand, and Mongu is a D- Protoss, and that is usually a pretty difficult skill gap to overcome. But we'll see what kind of play Mongu has for us today against Brood War Fun.
Yeah, I'm thinking that one thing that D- players have going for them is that they're unpredictable. So something like a 4-gate DT against a overly confident siege expanding Terran might have the possibility of throwing a major upset, but in general, you do want to, for improvement purposes, stick to recognized builds. And let's see where this first pylon goes. I want to see. Okay, and that's a decent placement. And again, we see that Mongu is not rallying his probes, and his probe production is a little bit inconsistent. In the early stages of the game, you almost always, well, not almost always, but generally you have one probe on the way and one probe queued, so you have constant probe production. And for example, let's say you're supply blocked, the next probe will start as soon as the pylon is done.
This looks like the factory wall off to me. Does it look that way to you? That's what I'm thinking this is.
This is 100% the factory wall off. This is a really interesting place to put your depot, because this is the correct placement. If you put your depot in what might seem like the logical choice, which is directly above the ramp, this Zealous actually can get through up the ramp and along the left edge of the wall up here.
Really?
Yeah.
On this position?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, you can't do the LT, you know, like the Lost Temple, the standard wall off for this kind of position, or the Python wall off that you can do on the 3 o'clock main. You can't do the same wall off here. You have to do your wall off like this, otherwise the Zealous can get in. I've won games and lost games so many times because of that positional issue that I've personally, like, I've memorized this. It's you have to find the little dip above the ramp in order to place your depot like this. And we are seeing
the indentation area.
Sorry.
Oh, he's actually doing a second depot. This should be a tight wall.
It is. It's
enough. So that is even ling tight, because you've got depots above each other are always tight, as is a depot above a barracks.
No, this is not ling tight. It's also not even marine tight. Between the two depots, because they're diagonal from each other, you can slip lings and marines.
Oh, are they diagonal? I thought the depot was also 1 hex overlapped. Is it not?
No, they're not overlapped at all, actually.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're talking about.
It's just it's the two corners that touch, and in this little gap you can stick marines and what's called zerglings. So it looks like a siege expand to me, which is a very conservative build. From Mongu, we see a relatively standard build. He's not getting range. Oh, he just started range. A little bit late. He's going two gate goons. So siege expand is actually perfect for this situation, I think.
And no Dragoon. Oh, there we go. Dragoon started now in the second gateway.
I like this build from Mongu. Mongu, this is a really safe build in a PvT. I think it's a great starter build. Like if you're just learning how to play, this guarantees that you won't just die outright in the beginning, and it allows you to practice a little bit more of your mid game. You might not be as economically advantaged as you normally would want to be, but 2-gate goon to deny the FD and expanding behind it would be a relatively safe choice. But we do see a starport from BW Fun.
That explains why there were 3 SCVs staying on the gas. I was going to say that looks like either siege expand or something else if you're going to keep 3 on gas. And has 4 Marines on the ramp, so that'll be pretty much unbreakable until there's multiple Dragoons. 1 Dragoon has absolutely no chance against 4 Marines on a ramp.
Yeah, even with 2 Dragoons, the reason it's an issue is, like, if the Dragoons, they will automatically try to stop at the bottom of the ramp and shoot up. And the Marines do still have the high ground advantage when they're up here on the choke of the ramp. And so about half of the Dragoon shots will not get through. Or isn't it?
He's going to go ahead and get Siege to defend. And interestingly enough, he is getting an Academy. Oh, Mongu needs to back off a little bit. The tank and Marine combo, that's a pretty nice defensive combo.
Dude, I love the positioning of this tank here. It's really smart because it gives you a better range. Considering the positioning of these depots, you can't really get a good angle from your tank onto the bottom of your ramp. So putting it out here on this lip is actually perfect.
Oh, but I don't like the fact that he sieged it there. that is super vulnerable to getting sniped when there's enough goons like there is from 2 gateways here. Like, Mongu, if he gets attacked by it, he can easily just snipe this tank on the top.
And we have a probe donation. It should be noted that Mongu stopped probe production at 17. Again, he just sacrificed one of his probes, but Mongu, you definitely need more probes. If you're getting an expansion, you need more probes just to have enough to saturate both bases by the time the Nexus is done, or at least partially saturate. And we see a bunker for the Marines.
6 Dragoons. Broodwar Fun, he says you can always unsiege, which is technically true, but with 5 or 6 Dragoons, if they get decent hit chance, you're going to lose the tank before you can unsiege it. You're not going to have enough reaction time. Yeah,
you're rolling the dice, really. I mean, there's a chance that six Dragoons will shoot and none of them will hit, and there's a chance that 6 Dragoons will shoot and all of them will hit, and suddenly your tank's in the red.
As a general rule of thumb, it is a lot better to siege that tank, say 2 tanks up/right of that tank. You still cover most of the area, and the Dragoons cannot walk in and shoot at it. It's just a much safer siege position, especially when you're just going with 1 tank to defend yourself.
I agree, and we see a ComSat station coming up for Terran. We see a drop with 3 vultures, and we see a science facility.
The academy. I was sort of hoping for Firebats because he got a super fast academy. I guess that's for anti-DT.
Oh, that would be really cute.
I was hoping for Firebat drop.
I mean, the only reason I would ever think of that is because of SGH THC. Shout outs to SGH THC, the only person I've ever seen use Firebat drops in TVP. That would actually be really smart.
Yeah, and you can tell Broodwar Fun saying it's annoying when Dragoons go behind the mineral line, and you can see that he's thinking about that with where he's positioned that barracks. He's made so if Dragoons were to even think about that, they have to go way around. So now, you see, this is where, now there are mines, but he could easily run in and snipe this tank if he wants to, but he is a little bit scared of the mines and is just going to back up. Oh, actually he's going to come back, but he cannot really attack that barracks without getting attacked by the tank, and I hope he is not going to stay here and try to kill the barracks. Oh, goons, no, 3 goon suicide. Oh,
and he moved the mine up, and the drop is coming in. Let's see how this drop does. It should do a lot of damage. Mangu has only 2 Dragoons here, and if you look at the building placement, I feel like he completely blocked his Dragoons from saving his probes. This is a clear example of where building positioning matters.
Oh, Jesus. I don't think his Dragoons can actually, well, maybe between the obs and the pylon.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have obs out yet, I don't think. So he's only got 2 Dragoons right now. He's totally out of position for the drop. So this is really bad. I mean, it's pretty much like GG. He's like down to 8 probes. Another thing to note, and this is worth noting, is that it's one thing to pressure as Protoss with Dragoons right away, but if you are pressuring and you don't see anything, you don't see a second tank, and you don't see an expansion for Terran or anything like that, then you need to back up and consider the possibility that a drop like this is coming, because when you're this out of position, it is disastrous.
This is true in PvP also. A lot of Protoss players like to have their whole army out, like containing the other Protoss, like sitting outside their bridge, and then all of a sudden, oops, Reaver drop, or having it at their own natural bridge, trying to have a defensive arc, and then they don't have any Dragoons in their mineral lines, so they get caught out by drops. So you should always be cognizant of the possibility of drops.
Yeah, and another thing that's worth noting too for newer Protoss is, let's say you come up to a ramp and you see a Terran that walls, and nothing's happening, right? You see no sign of a siege tank, no sign of an expansion, anything like that. That usually means you're looking at one of 2 builds. You're either looking at, oh my god, I guess we have to watch this being suicide in the mines. This is too painful.
Oh my god.
Mines Batman. I don't know what he's doing here, but he just, okay.
Oh my god.
Alrighty, and that was like 10 Dragoons.
Oh my god. And now the vultures.
He made a DT to try to deal with this.
And the vultures slip past, and they're gonna get the rest of these probes, I feel like, or at least a lot of them. Oh my god, 2.
I can understand why Mongu was a little frustrated after these games. He was quite frustrated.
Yeah, I want
1 probe.
Okay, now look in the natural of BW Fun. What do you see next to the command center?
Floating eBay?
Yeah, and what do you think is under that?
Oh, the ComSat probably.
Are you sure? Because I think the only reason that he would.
Actually, that is interesting. I just clicked on it. I was almost not able to click on it.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was ComSat. That explains the academy, I guess.
And that explains the floating engineering bay in this positioning also. That's really cute.
Doesn't even want him to see it with the obs. But anyway, so I was going to talk about the two-base Terran, and he's transitioning into bio. But so if Terran doesn't have a command center, and you walk to the ramp with your first few Dragoons, and there's no sign of a command center, usually the best thing to do is to send a probe out and pull your Dragoons back, because at this point, there's usually going to be two things from Terran. It's either going to be two-fact aggression, or it's going to be a drop. And the thing is, if it's drop, your obs won't scout it in time, and you just have to have the Dragoons back. So the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to put a probe at the ramp, and if you see Terran start to move out with tanks and vultures, you know it's two-fact, then you can move your Dragoons and meet him up along the map. But that way you're positioned with your Dragoons ready in your base if it's drop. Oh, and he's got the vessel, so he's intending to EMP nuke Nexus one-shot kill. Here we go. Here we go. You guys get to watch a nuke.
Nuclear launch detected.
Rough day for Mongu, as this Nexus is 100% dead.
And he's not reacting either. He's not pulling the scant probes that he has at this base.
Oh, actually, he did.
Oh.
Did he notice? Yeah, just in time. Just in time. Yep, just in time.
Oh.
So dieth the Nexus, and Mongu just says GG.
Oh my goodness, good game. Poor Mongu. Mongu, don't give up hope. We all have been humiliated before by players who are far better than us in all settings.
This is very true. I lost over 100 games before I won my first game of Brood War, and I started out with about 20 APM. And I thought that like a fast Dark Archon build and mind control and build as the other team as well was like the ultimate super strategy.
So you're already better off than we were, because at least for me, when I was starting, we really didn't have many resources, or at least I wasn't cognizant of the resources that were available to help you along the way. So I was just doing dumb stuff and not knowing it was dumb or why it was dumb, but you can definitely take advantage of this league and learn.
So spawning the top right-hand corner as the white Protoss, we have Click Decision. And in the left-hand side, as the blue Terran, we have Brood War Fun. And of course, this is the final match. So what are the stakes here? Well, the winner will advance, will go 2-1. Now, normally 2-1 advances out of group stages, but for this tournament, we had more than, I guess, what would it be, 32 signups. We had like 40-some, so basically the person that advances 2-0 is out of the group into the CPL proper. Ranking tour proper, and the person that advances 2-1 goes into a second group stage that if they advance either 2-1 or 2-0 from those groups, they will also make it into the ranking tour proper. So the winner here gets to move on to the second group stage, and the person that loses falls into still into another tour, because we knew that there was going to be a decent spread of skills, and we wanted to give both D players and C players a chance to participate. So the player that loses this will fall into the less prestigious but still active tournament of DRIT.
I want to note one thing. Click Decision did a Pylon Scout. In PvT, I really don't think that this is absolutely necessary. There's really nothing that Terran can do to you, besides maybe BBS. That'll just ruin your day this early, that justifies a scout this early. What do you feel about that, Elmaster?
Yeah, unless you are wanting to pylon the ramp, and honestly, it's taking a risk on a 4-player map, because you probably won't find him. Like, 2-player map, there's a lot of reasons you could probe scout. Maybe, I forget if it is gas steal timing, or if you have to go sooner to gas steal, but if you really wanted to gas steal, if you wanted to pylon the ramp for Zealot Harass, there's a few reasons you could do that, but on a 4-player map, or if you're not intending to do that, I'm with you. I don't see a reason to do it.
And this probe is actually almost dead, and he hasn't achieved any of what he could have set out to do, which is pylon the ramp or to steal the gas. He has achieved none of that, and I feel like it just turned out to be somewhat of a, how would you say, an economic.
It just hurts your economy a little bit.
Yeah, it hurts your economy a little bit, slows down your timing a little bit, and we noticed that the cybernetics core is actually a little bit late. Again, the gas mining is a little bit late. So that's a few things that a Click Decision could clean up a few things about just his opening build order alone. They're not major things, but every second counts, especially in the early game. I feel like Brood War is very much a game where the snowball rolls downhill. You know, like you're a few seconds lost here, a few seconds lost there, a few seconds lost there, and suddenly you have one less Dragoon to defend against an FD. So and especially if you're going one gate against FD, you need all the Dragoons you can get as soon as you can get them. And we
it's
are
definitely Also, I was gonna say, someone was making a point that a lot of times, or sometimes in PvT, players don't even probe scout, and that is true, because to be honest, unless you're just really worried about like BBS or something, all a probe scout is ever gonna see is a Rax, a gas, and maybe a factory, which is what Terran gets every time. No Terran is ever gonna let you live to see if they put down a command center, a second factory, or a starport. So they'll just walk over and they'll just find out where Terran is with their first Dragoon, and leave it at that.
Well, I'm not sure, 100% sure I can agree with that, because one of the things that having a probe scout in the Terran main does accomplish is noticing how many SCVs he has on gas. Obviously, Terran could take SCVs off gas and then put them back on, but that will delay his whatever he is doing with 3 SCV gas just a little bit. So there is some value to it.
You might be able to see that depending on how quickly he makes the Marine.
And we are still seeing 3 SCV on gas, so I'm curious as to what build is going to come out of this. We don't see a follow-up starport. We see 1 factory add-on. We have Marine production continuing. This is getting to be a lot of gas.
Yeah, he's gonna have a ton. I wonder if he's gonna do the same drop build.
Well, he would need the starport already by this point.
Oh, this fact. Oh, yeah, you're right. He would have put it down. It would have been a little bit delayed to do it like this. I guess it's just siege expand because he did get siege mode.
Oh no, he's getting mine. Yeah.
What?
Oh, now he pulled all SCVs off gas.
Okay, that's an interesting way of doing it, but he did pull SCVs off gas, so yeah, I guess we're just going to see an FD.
And we do see a 21 Nexus. Well, actually, this is not even 21 Nexus. This is 3 Goon Nexus from Quick Decision. A little bit safer. Well, not safer. A little bit more standard than the 21 Nexus, I think. This is the build that I generally favor. Do we see... Now, one of the things that I think about when this happens is, do you build Robo or Gateway next? And I think the indications that he's seen so far, 1 tank, 4 Marines, he could safely build a Robo before adding Gateways in this situation, I think. And here's the Robo. Good call. We are seeing a second take on the way out.
Strong FD.
Strong FD. Yes.
Okay, so this one is a more difficult. So basically, there's 2 Terran main opening. Well, there's 1 main opening variant these days, which is FD. But Strong FD is a variant of it that basically is a little more designed to punish a Protoss player that's doing this expand, and with good control, this Strong FD is pretty difficult to hold with this because you only have 1 gateway, and the 2 tanks in range are really strong. And Click is doing terrible micro right now.
Yeah, look at how quickly those Dragoons melted.
And lost 2 Dragoons. Now this is a little bit sloppy right now from Brood War Fun, as the Marines are way too far out. Like, basically the micro for this is you keep the Marines as close to the tank as possible, and if the goons run in to snipe the tanks, then you just pull the tanks back and let the Marines wreak havoc on the Dragoons. And of course, Vulture's now getting in front and laying mines, and he has gotten mines in behind the Dragoon, so look at this Dragoon, boom! And this is looking absolutely horrible. This Dragoon actually in the natural just took another mine hit, so amazing mines. Just Click is not able to be everywhere, and Click just is out.
Wow. A little bit of salt going on today in these games, I noticed. Yesterday, too, there was a little bit of salt. Definitely some people who maybe got their ego checked a little bit too hard.
So, from this group, advancing in first place, we have DNH into the CPL ranking tour proper. Into the second group stage, for a chance to get into the CPL, we have Brood War Fun, and both joining the D-Ranks individual tournament, we have Quick Decision and Mongu. So our next group is Group 8.